Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of The Spark. I'm Coach David. I hope you're doing fantastic on today. I hope that your life is improving day by day and everything is getting better for you, that you are continually to grow and to, meet and exceed your own expectations. And therefore, I know that your life is truly abundant in every way. I also hope that you're out there working with others and sharing with others and encouraging others to live their very best life. I wrote a book called You Are the Architect of Your Life. And in that book, I share with people the principles that determine what type of life they have, because truly that is up to you. No one else can make that decision but you, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what politics say, no matter what this person says, no matter what kind of background you came from. You can determine the type of life that you want to have, and you can determine how your life is going to progress if you will set in your heart and mind that you are the architect of your life, that you get to design it, build it, and live it. I hope that helps you on today. We're going to go back into mastering the mental. Okay. Remember last week I began to talk about mastering the mental, and I said, hey, you got to trust the process. And I kind of went in and I talked about different aspects of how people get into their mindset one way, and it can not help them. It can hinder them, actually. So today I'm going to go a little bit further with that, because I told you I didn't know if it was going to become a series or not. But I went back and I listened to it, and something I said maybe I need to explain to people what trusting the process really is. And I was in particular talking about to my team and students that I teach and coach. And so what I did this week, I did exactly that. I went in and I delved into it, and I started to pull that apart of what it means to really trust the process. Because here's what I understand about that. If you take care of the process, the goals of your life, or the goals that you set, will take care of itself. I'm going to say that one again for impact. If you take care of the process, the goal will take care of itself. So, what are we talking about on today? Well, we're getting into getting away from becoming outcome focused. A lot of times we're just focused on the goal, and that's all we see, and we forget about the process to get us there. So I want to get us away from the what I call outcome focus or goal focus, and get us to the steps and the methods that we use to achieve the outcome, that we use to achieve the goal. So we said you got to trust the process. So let's break that down piece by piece, because I think that's going to be a great place for us to get a better understanding. When you trust something or someone, you believe in them. You believe in their reliability. You believe in their truth. You believe in their ability. You believe in their strength. When you trust, you believe in. So when I say trust the process, you've got to believe in the process. And so you got to go inside of you, because this is where trust really happens at. It happens on the inside of you, and you have to make a determination that you're going to believe in this process. Now, the process, when we define that, the process is a series of actions or a series of steps that we take in order to achieve a particular end. We're not just focused on the end, but we understand that each and every one of those steps, each and every one of those actions are important. And we believe in those steps, we believe in those actions, and we believe that it will get us to a particular end. That's what it really means to trust in the process. It's, and many times when you're trusting in the process, you got to trust in a person. Well, that person should have some type of credibility that says, hey, I can believe in this person. I can believe in their reliability. I can believe in their truth. I can believe in their ability. How can I do that? Because of their past actions. Now, if you're new to that person, like a lot of times I will coach new students or new drillers. And when they come in, what I have to understand is that they don't know me. I don't know them. There's a learning curve there. There's a part where they're going to have to get to know me, and I got to get to know them, and we got to learn to trust each other. Because if I'm so just looking at the end goal, I don't take care of all the steps that get us there. So what I have to do, I got to learn that sometimes trust is developed. Here's a key thing. One of my mentors told me this, and this is really, really important to me. Trust is earned. It's not automatic. You hear people say, trust me. Why? Why should I trust you? Trust is earned. It's earned over a period of repeated actions, a period of repeated steps that I can see that you are something that I should believe in, that you are reliable, that you are truthful, that you do have this ability and you do have the strength. And sometimes that process takes time, and that's okay. Listen, I had a situation where I told some people, I'm new to the group. And I said, and I'm the coach. I said, you've got to trust me. Trust the process. Trust what I'm doing. Well, a bunch of them didn't. And so they left. Now, I have this saying, when people leave you, let them go. And so I had to let them go. I couldn't beg. I tell people, I can't beg you. So what I did, I let them go. A bunch of new people came in, new students came in. And when they came in, they began to understand that, hey, this is all a process. Just got to trust it. And if I trust the process, we will get to a particular end. And here's another thing, too. If you don't get to the exact end, you get very, very close. And so you've got to trust the process. So trust the process means this right here. I'm going to give you 3 things right here. Number 1, I accept and believe in the inherent journey. In other words, I accept and believe in the process, because remember, the process is actions and steps I have to take. I trust that even when the outcome is uncertain or it may be very challenging. See, in other words, it may not look good. That's right. When you're going on your journey, it may not look good. But as one of my mentors taught me a long time ago, he says, David, you get more on your journey than when you first start. So get started. So you have to accept and believe in the journey and say, you know what? That's the process. I got to get started. Number 2, you have to surrender control and expectation. In other words, what people do, they're so looking at the end goal that they forget about the present moment. Oh boy, we're going to talk about that a little bit first, so I won't get into it right now. But you've got to be present moment focused. Next, you got to acknowledge that in this process, and when we're going through this process, that often you're going to see progress. You're going to see it as we're going in the process. You're going to see progress, but that progress may be gradual. And sometimes it may look a little messy. Sometimes it may look a little crazy. Sometimes it may look like it's not working. But remember, I started out trusting the process. And if I continue to trust the process, in the end, everything is going to come out. Yes. So hold on one second. So when I begin to do that, I'm trusting the process. Now, here's something that's really important. The key factor in trusting the process is you must develop a growth mindset. That is where a lot of people lose it at, because they're so fixed on the end result that they don't have the growth mindset. So you focus on methods, you focus on steps, and you not entirely focus on just the outcome. That's not where you're at. All right. So now, with that being said, we understand that we're going to go from oriented goal outcome thinking to process oriented thinking. Now, how do we do that, though? That's the key question. Well, there's steps to process oriented thinking, and I'm going to give them to you. That's what I'm going to wrap it up with. And I'm going to use the word process. That's right. I'm going to use all the letters from the word process to help you develop this process-oriented thinking. Isn't that great? Thank you, Coach David. Well, listen, I like to do that because when you have that word process, you understand certain things. Now, you may not have it all, but you can always go back and refer and pick it up. So let's get started on that so we can wrap this up today. Number 1, process. We said we're going to use that word. So let's go with the P. The P means present moment. What does that mean? Now, I said I was going to get into being present moment. You've heard people say before, be in the zone. In other words, what they are telling you, quit looking down there or over there right now. Be locked in to the present moment. Remember, we're about the process. We're about the steps. We're about the methods. And in order for those things to be effective, we have to be locked in. A lot of times we're not. We are somewhere else. So the P stands for be present moment. Be in the moment. Here's the R. The R speaks to the regulation of my emotions, called emotional intelligence, handling my emotions for success. In other words, when things don't look like they're working, I don't shut down. I don't cave in. I don't give up. I just know that this is a process and it's going to take time. We said that already. It's going to look messy sometimes. We said that too, but I am sticking with the process. I'm going to control my emotions. I'm going to regulate my emotions. I'm going to have emotional intelligence, and I am going to get through this. The next is the O. The O stands for opportunities. What? Yes, you've heard me say this before. Opportunities don't knock. Opportunities sit quietly by. They usually go unnoticed because they seem like it's an unfair exchange. In other words, what you have to give may seem unfair, but I promise you, opportunities are growing and learning. When you take an opportunity, you take the opportunity to grow and to learn. And growing and learning sometimes costs you something. Oh, yes, it does. It costs you something. So you have to understand that, being opportunities, that opportunities are going to come your way. They're not going to look great sometimes. That's okay. I didn't expect it to. My expectation is that I'm going to learn that an opportunity is an opportunity for me to grow and to learn. And even if I have some hiccups in there, even if I have a failure, that's okay. I learned something from it. So let's jump to the C. So we got the P, the R, and the O. The C stands for chances. What do you mean? Things are unpredictable. You have to learn to accept uncertainty as a part of your journey. That's right. Sometimes you're going to come into things and it's going to happen and it is going to be uncertain as to how it is progressing, how it is going, how it is looking. That's okay. I believe in taking the chance. Why? It goes back to opportunities, but I'm going to take the chance and I'm going to accept within me. This is just a part of the process that it is unpredictable. It is uncertain, but I accept that. That's the C. Here we go with the E. The E speaks to experience as an opportunity to grow. Experience as an opportunity to learn. Be open to new experiences. Don't be closed-minded and say, you know what? That ain't for me. Nope, I'm not doing that. Why? Because it's something new. I told you about a while ago about the okra. When my mom, when I first saw okra, I was not open to the experience of tasting okra until I had okra. Now, when I became open to it, something new, something beneficial came into my life. You have got to look at experience as an opportunity for you to grow and to learn. Here's the S. The first S is self-compassion. Please, I beg of you, treat yourself with kindness. Quit beating yourself up. Quit tearing yourself down. Quit talking badly about yourself and talk about the goodness of everything that is within you, that you are doing, how you're moving, and how you are becoming better and better. Quit beating yourself up, please. That is called self-compassion. And then the second S, I'll wrap it up with this, self-awareness. You've got to understand yourself. And sometimes you have to take time out of your schedule to sit down to understand what's motivating you, what's driving you, what's your desires, where's your values at? Because when you understand that, now you understand that drives the decisions that you make. And so when I'm self-aware, I know me and I understand me. See, I don't need anybody else to tell me about me. I need to be able, and I'm not saying that from the standpoint of that sometimes you don't need help, because we all do. But you should be self-aware to understand what's going on within you. So if you'll take the P, present moment, the R, regulation of your emotions, the O, opportunities, C, chances, E, experience, S, self-compassion, S, self-awareness, you are now moving in the steps to becoming a process-oriented thinker, and you are trusting the process. I hope that helped you on today. If it did, share that with someone. I certainly enjoyed spending this time with you and sharing what I'm receiving and what I'm learning and what I'm growing in. And boy, it is good. So you take this week and you begin to look at this word process and you start taking this. You may have to go back and look at it again, and that's okay. But remember this right here. I want you to share it with somebody now. Don't forget that. But remember this. You are the architect of your life. I'm Coach David. I already believe in you because I know you're great in every way already. You have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye.